You know, so whenever I'm fishing a spoon, everybody thinks it's a really seasonal bait. But for me, if there are fish offshore, I'm going to use a spoon. It doesn't matter if they're on a brush pile, if they're on a rock pile, if they're on a ledge, or if they're just suspended eating bait fish. You know, there's nothing out there that resembles a little shad like a spoon, you know, and we've got all different sizes. So no matter if I'm throwing a 1/2 ounce size, just you go ahead and mimic a really small thread fin, or if I'm throwing a really big talon, to just mimic a gizzard the size of your hand, you know. They just do a really good job of, they're super erratic, and it's just a good way to get a reaction bite out of a deep fish. You know, right now I'm really trying to find suspended groups of fish, and I'm throwing this little 1/2 ounce spoon at them because it's the perfect bait to mimic the thread fin that they're eating. So I'm, you know, running around using my forward facing sonar to try to get this spoon in front of groups of fish. So whenever you're fishing a jigging spoon like this, you know, I like to make it pretty erratic. You know, I'm going to jerk this bait pretty hard, but I always let it fall on a slack line. That bait really seems to flutter and just really dip and dive whenever it falls back down. So you kind of want to jerk it hard, and then just a lot of really short pops with your rod tip. Like I was telling you guys how versatile this bait is, you know. You don't have to, oh, I just lost one right there. You don't have to just drop it on fish that you're seeing, you know, suspended on your graph or anything like that. You can cast this bait to fish when they're schooling. It's actually one of my favorite baits for schooling fish because you can throw it so far. But it's one of those baits that if you're getting it wet, you've got a really good chance at catching one on it. Most of the time, whenever I'm throwing, you know, this 1/2 ounce spoon, I'll use a 6/8 to a 7/2, you know, medium to medium heavy action rod. And you know, I'm usually fishing that bait on 12-pound fluorocarbon. I adjust my line size depending on how fast I want the bait to fall. You gotta get really good at knowing exactly where your transducer is looking, because it can be pretty tricky because you don't know what to go up and over and under, and just trying to get your bait to them. That's the hardest part. You know, it really doesn't matter, I don't think. I think it's just whichever stall will allow you to get to where you can see them, you know. And that's the nice thing about you know, using a jigging spoon, is it's not gonna be hard to flip. You can really be accurate, and you can fit them in really small places. So that's one of my favorite things about flipping a jigging spoon on the docks like that, is just the accuracy, and you can really put it in some really tight places. You get a Dixie Jet out here. This is our crappie spoon. It's a 1/2 ounce model. You just never know what you're gonna catch. You can catch walleye, bass, crappie, anything that swims is gonna bite that spoon. You know, I feel like a small spoon is really overlooked for crappie. You know, this is just our 1/2 ounce version, and I wish I had $1 for every one of those pretty slabs that I've caught with them. You know, it's a perfect little bait fish imitator. You get around these boat docks, you get around brush piles, you drop your spoon to them, and man, they just can't help it. It looks like a little dying minnow. For catching crappie, it's pretty hard to beat. These spoons come in 4 colors. And you know, we kept it pretty simple. We've got you know, some real bright chartreusey colors, and as you can see, it kind of works down the line. You know, a little more natural. We'll have white, then we'll have silver. I really just pick my colors, you know, depending on the watercolor. You know, I'll use any of these in real clear, but you know, I probably am not going to use silver in a real dirty, if that makes any sense to you. So you know, the dirtier the water, the more chartreusey and the more white that I'm going to tend to lean towards. And in the clean water, you know, I love either silver or white, and that's just a preference thing. They'll bite them all, but you know, for me, I like to keep it simple, you know. And that's the nice thing, is there's not a lot of colors that we're going to be, you know, mixing and matching. You know, if you'll put one of these 4 colors in front of them, you're probably going to catch them.